nature's skies. Ooh, come save your child. Come save your child. I said, come sisters. Come and take back your child. This great.
Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to GeesBeeCee Women with Words. We've been on a self-imposed break.
We needed it all.
We needed that break. Everybody's been busy, busting their tails.
Yeah.
But it's good to be back. Hello, Agatha.
Enter, hello. How you doing?
Yeah, Enter Beauty not here, but Enter BA is sitting up pretty.
You know, I went to work today, so I keep pulling this so my girl's not up, but yeah, I had to put a jacket on.
I know. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is a very special show today. We have two very, very important guests. I want you to get ready. I want you to start writing questions. We are privileged today. Let me just talk a little bit about our guests before we start the intro in our show so that you can start preparing your questions. Of course, why would I forget? I haven't said my name in a while. I am Glendy Jane Juniors. The most important thing I love to do is to call my name. And I'm here this evening with
Agatha Joseph. But
Yes.
I have to say, Auntie, I am digging the pink lipstick. I'm
I
not
put
a
it on
lipstick person.
I put it on just for you.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'm loving it. I am loving it.
I put it on just so I used to be a lipstick fanatic. I have a lot of them, but then that's all I like because it's easy to wear. You don't have to rub a lot of stuff. Just put
You rub a lot of stuff. That's why we need a makeup artist here for you and I don't even wear lipstick. And you rubbing a lot of stuff. They don't rub
a lot of stuff,
my friend.
But anyway, welcome. We have two guests here today, two professionals. We have a life coach and we have a licensed therapist, counselor. If I make any mistake with what their titles are, they will tell you. We want to be talking about life today. We're going to be talking about relationships. We're going to be talking about love. We're going to be talking about heartbreak. We're going to be talking about counseling. We're going to be talking about how they can help me find a boyfriend.
We're going to be talking about sex. What I want that detour.
They're going to be here today, but we want you to start asking your questions now. This is a different kind of show because it's one we actually was looking forward to having 4 therapists on today. Of course, my favorite Leslie can make it today, and then what's her name? They also can make it, but we do have 2 beautiful women here. They're so fun. They're fun guests. They will plenty book. Fun guests, plenty of book. Yes. But anyway, today is our 2nd anniversary on this show. Of course, GeesBeeCee started a long time ago, started politically. It's almost 4 years with this thing, but as a group, with Women with Words, our show today, we're celebrating our 2nd anniversary. And it takes a lot. We've been doing this show. We've talked to so many people. Yeah. Very dedicated. I think we probably have missed maybe 4 shows on an average. But it's something that we love to do. We've talked to, you name it, the high, the lows, the buys. There have been a lot of 1 or 2 people have suggested maybe we need to think about what we can do as a group, because we also do have a Facebook page where we have a lot of followers on there. We can start doing something. What can we do as a group now to take this message out there, maybe help an organization or, brand it out there, help people. But, it's something that's in the future. We want to welcome all of you. We want to first acknowledge all of our Facebookers, all of the people on the page, the GeesBeeCee page. We want to thank you all for following us for 2 years. We fight, we laugh, we love, we come back. We argue, we make flower, we celebrate all of you. And I also want to say there are some of you who sometimes you feel that we don't celebrate you enough. Sometimes we just don't know when you are having celebration. Like some birthdays, we miss them. We come the next day, we say it. And some people, and I like when we miss birthdays, somebody will say, oh, you forgot about me today, or today was my birthday, or you were busy. We're humans. We have no intention not to treat everybody the same. But please, if your birthday is out there and you know and you see that we want to celebrate you, we don't want you to keep it secret. We want you to tell us about it. So today is our happy anniversary, Agatha. Of
Happy
course, Michael
anniversary to
and
you.
Eva, they're not here, but they are full. They're still a part of this team. Eva, you saw her the other day. She celebrated her birthday. Happy
Still
belated birthday.
celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday,
Still
Eva.
celebrating her. You guys will see us this weekend. We're gonna be all over the place again,
Yes.
celebrating.
Marjorie.
Yes, and
Marjorie
tomorrow
celebrating
is
her birthday
Marjorie's
too.
birthday.
Happy
Follow
birthday.
us. So all of you who've had birthday in September, so far, the Virgo people, we want to say happy birthday. But I want to also, as we start the show, I want to say happy birthday to my cousin Eva Dix. This lady, beautiful lady in the middle here, is 93 years old.
Woohoo.
Everything is still intact. She is the mother
Amen.
of Reverend A. Momolu Dix, Andrew Momolu Dix. These are his siblings. She is still intact. Eva Dix, she's 93 years old, celebrated her birthday. I called her and I was saying happy birthday. I said, all your faculty stay intact. She said, my faculty intact more than your own.
Good for you. Yeah, good for you.
What are you? So happy birthday. Agatha, you want to say anything before we start off?
I mean, we took a little break. I see a lot of people joining. Something that you brought up, I do want to add to it. Our top contributors on the page. You all keep that page moving. There are some days when work gets so much. I know I can just look at my phone and flip, scroll through it, and I'll see something to make me laugh.
Yes.
So I want to encourage you, don't stop. Some of us may not say much all the time, but trust me, people are reading it, they're looking, and you're uplifting someone. So in the real world, when things get really tough, we can go to the internet citizen of Facebook. We can go. We can go. I won't tell you what I call it. The other net of Facebook. But yeah, keep it coming. We appreciate you. And 2 years has been good. There's been not too many fights. I wouldn't say, we've been pretty even keel. So I want to thank Michael, Eva, Glendy for all of the hard work, and I'm looking forward to many more years.
Yes. We're here. Sometimes we'll take break because, of course, we're humans. We need to take some break here and there. But we also want to move the show as we go into the third year coming. We want to also encourage you if there are people out there that you want us to talk to, because it's not easy always to get people to want to come on the show. One of the things we experienced in August is most of our guests canceled.
Yeah.
And then of course, either Agatha was busy, I was busy, Eva couldn't make it. Michael has traveled in some other country. We don't know where he is.
he said we yeah.
he said we yeah. But we're still here. So if there's anybody out there that you want us to talk to, please certainly feel free to let us know. We will talk to them. We'll bring them on. Want to first show who we have coming on today. Two beautiful women, beautiful Black, fine, African, Liberianess. We have, of course, Coach Delarue is here and Counselor Goumah is here. I think that's basically all of the housekeeping stuff. We're going to be talking about everything. So like I say, if you're here, I'm monitoring my phones. Agatha is also monitoring her phone. We want to make sure that you have questions that we can ask. Is that if you get question about boyfriend, type it here. If you get question about girlfriend, type it.
Okay.
If you get question about your husband, type it here.
I get question about Mr. Jose. I'll let out other post where you post for what can't in.
So crazy. Any questions you get today? It's our anniversary. We're going to take it off. I'm going to welcome our guests. We'll first welcome Delarue. Coach D is here today in the house.
Hey.
Hello. Welcome. And then, of course, I was thinking what I should say, Coach D and Coach G. and therapist G. So when
Anything.
I was thinking about what to call them. I had to think about your character, your facade, and how you come on. I said, Goumah, it's just laid back. And, Coach Delarue is just gonna give it to you raw, just gonna just be all exotic about it and just let you know. And then Coach G is gonna be in the back, being exotic but very slow. Uh, but welcome, ladies. Welcome to GBC. We're glad to have you all here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, I'm so excited for this conversation. I've been off the internet for too long.
I know, right?
Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. So let's start. And just to let our guests, our audience know, both of these ladies have been here before. So this is their second time. And we were actually, yes, so they show you that a show.
Yeah.
We're actually looking to have 4 therapists on today, but 2 couldn't make it. But we have 2 here at least. So what we want to do is to clean up, start afresh, clean up everything, and start the new year afresh. So we'll go to Delarue to tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll go to Goumah, and then we can start talking.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you again for having us here today. I'm really excited. So my name is Delarue Brumskin. I am the daughter of the late Dr. Walter Brumskin and Mrs. Ophelia Huff, formerly Huff Setuma, but that's my mother, okay? And I mention that because I know in Liberia, context is king.
Yeah.
You relate better to people when you can place them in categories or branches of trees. So that's who I am in terms of my family. But I'm a licensed therapist. I have my master's degree in clinical social work. So I work as a clinician. I've been doing this work for 12 plus years now. And I started off doing individual therapy, moved into group therapy. I did change management with large organizations like LRA through the World Bank and so on and so forth. A lot of times people are like, how did you end up at LRA? That's the connection. We were building a new organization, so you need a change management strategy, right? So anyway, I market myself as a life coach because I'm a little bit unconventional. I don't leave my culture behind when I come to work. I don't leave my vibrancy behind when I come to work. I really do bring my whole self forward. And in the social work discipline, we really want to deal with your whole self. And so it's necessary that I present as authentic and in order to create an environment where you feel comfortable to do the same thing. That makes sense?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. So I've lived bicontinentally. So I maintain a home in Liberia. I have a home here in the US as well. And I was married for 12 years. I was married to a Liberian. We had 2 children. One of them, the second child, passed away at birth. And so I've had some very challenging life experiences that give me a lived experience that I can apply to the theory and the practice of clinical social work, right? And one of the things that I really pride myself in is being resilient and being able to reclaim my joy after all of that tragedy. I got divorced. I forgot that part. It's very important.
Very important.
I got divorced after I lost the baby, right? So being able to overcome that divorce, overcome that loss of the child, and my dad died right on the heels of all of that.
Wow.
Leave that depression. And I was in Liberia at the time, so I didn't have access to clinical services, and be able to kind of pull myself back up and represent myself to the world like this. It was not easy, but it can be done. And I hope to not just be a role model for women who are going through challenging situations, but I have the clinical tools that I can share with you to literally kind of walk you through and help you develop a strategy.
All right.
All right. Goumah, somebody asking, so the coach is single. You just heard it from her. She is single.
I am single. I'm not so ready to mingle, but in December I will be.
There you go.
I got question. I got follow-up question, but let's go to Goumah. Goumah, can you introduce us there? Because we're not ready until December.
No.
All right. So my name is Goumah Kondi, and I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist.
We balance it out tonight. I got to. I love this.
Nobody come and find you husband tonight. Tell you that won't be. Goumah, I beg you finish that intro. Not my ending.
Specialty is trauma and attachment injury. So basically having to work with people, helping them understand, as I said before in this show, how we learn to bond with our primary caregivers, how we learn how to connect with people based on how we connected with our family of origin. That's really what attachment is all about. And then, of course, trauma, which we all know, has to do with us incurring something that was very painful and not being able to overcome that. Because that's the key, not being able to overcome it. So those are the two things that I focus on in my work. I work with couples. Over 90% of my clients are couples. I'm very focused on that. And then I also am the founder of Eagle Girls, which many of you have read about on Facebook. And Eagle Girls is really my organization that provides trauma resolution counseling to girls in Liberia who have been affected by sexual abuse. We had our first trauma camp this summer. It went very well. Turned out was great. Healing is taking place. And we're now about to launch our monthly group that will be running for the girls. So very excited about that. Also work in ministry, work with lots of ministers and pastors' families. That's another thing that I do as well. So that's me. Married. I've been married for 22 years. I have 3 daughters. One is 21, one is 18, and then I have a 9-year-old. So
Can I just clarify? I want you to highlight a little bit.
yeah.
The lady says she works with ministry. She ain't talking about youth and sport, public work. That ain't the ministry she's talking about. I don't the minister and she's talking about.
No.
Please explain it for our simple
So
English.
I'm talking about pastors' wives, missionaries and their wives, those kinds of things. Yes.
So as I'm listening to the two of you, I almost want to take a piece of Delarue as a client to Goumah, the clinical whatever your qualification is, because according to Delarue, I wrote down here the loss of her child,
Trauma,
the loss of her dad,
trauma,
and then divorce. There's so many people out there who can identify what she's going through, and you deal with trauma. Meeting Delarue for the first time, and I just want you to tell us, how would you have approached her situation? What would have been some of the things you would have told her then? I'm pretty sure she has healed from it, but I want to hear some of the Delarue can say, and then maybe you can just tell us, just let's do a skit now and see in real life how it would have been like.
Okay, so let me just add a couple of things that will make it more realistic for everybody listening and more easy for Goumah to really assess. So I was a refugee child. I came to the US at 12. This is very important because at that age, we're still kind of forming our sense of self, so your self-identity, and you're still very attached to your primary caregivers. So in the middle of that attachment, I was removed from home and brought here to live with people I've never lived with before. So that had a huge impact on my views of relationships. I also grew up very close to my father, and having that relationship separated in a way because Papa was in Phoebe behind the line, and so there was no telephone, no way to stay in contact with him. And many times I would write him, and I was a child, remember that, he wouldn't write back. But he was behind the line. I don't think no post office or anything will go in there, So that's, I think, helpful background for you to maybe relate, because a lot of times our people forget that there's early trauma that comes from the war that we're all walking with that impacts our relationships.
Yes.
That is correct. And thank you so much for sharing that and for being so vulnerable, because I know it's not easy, right? For you to be put on the spot like that. Regarding such painful experiences. So thank you for sharing that. So if she came to me, first of all, I will be working based on her presenting issue. So I'm not addressing something that she's not bringing up, right? So that's the first place we'll start. And in terms of what she has shared, 2 things clicked for me right away as she was talking. So I will be exploring more in those areas. One will be separation anxiety, having left dad and being so attached to dad. And the other one will be dealing with issues of abandonment, even though she was not intentionally abandoned, but
still hurts.
Yes.
Wow.
So I will be focusing on those two areas as we're going along. And I'll leave it there for now, Delarue.
Okay, well, I can give you a presenting issue, and this is very sincere.
Okay.
One of the things that even up until now that I struggle with is I have a lot of negative thoughts around relationships, because not just was my own marriage very difficult, almost every single librarian marriage I have seen has been not just difficult, but distasteful to me.
Mm.
Yeah, when I look at it, I'm like, why would anybody want to do that? Right? And I challenge, even I had a group of women, like a group of librarian women around in like a social setting.
Yes.
And I asked them to name for me 5, and everybody online try this. Think of 5 healthy Liberian marriages that you would want to emulate. Marriages that
Right.
you're not TV marriages that you know in your personal life. And I mean, there are good marriages there, but if this is a path to healthiness, you have to make real the thing you desire. And I'm being honest with you, when I look at Liberian marriages, for the most part, I'm like, no, I don't know. And this thing is getting in the way of me remarrying, because I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, that's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
Goumah, before you respond to Daryl, can I just say, I don't think it's just Liberian marriages.
True.
Let's just clean the slate. It's all relationship as a whole, right? Because not everybody wants to be married. Not everybody is in a legal defined marriage per law. There are also common law marriages and things of that sort. And I know lots of couples, not only Liberians, Nigerians, Kenyans, Americans, Asian, mixed race, that I see the same types of issues and challenges across the board.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure that people understand we're not bashing Liberian marriages. Delarue is speaking from a personal experience, right?
Not
Because
only that, I'm speaking from the perspective of a child.
Okay.
Right? Keep in mind, because
you grew up in it.
I grew up in the Liberian community, right?
Right.
I've grown up around Liberian people, and I have young millennial relatives that don't want to marry at all for the same reason I'm saying this thing.
Right.
What we're seeing in our homes has such a tremendous impact on our worldview. What we see in other people's communities, other people's lives and TV, it can land, but it doesn't land the same way like what you see in your own home and family.
Right.
So that's the challenge. So definitely, I've seen beautiful Liberian marriages. My issue, they're not plenty. It bothers me because I'm trying to juxtapose that reality. Why I didn't see it's just not as pronounced. Right? So
all right.
I love y'all.
All right, therapist.
Yeah. So let me just say I do a second emotion, Tabitha. It's not. I mean, Agatha. I don't know why I'm calling you Tabitha. Forgive me.
That's fine.
Agatha.
Don't call me late for pan, but
No. But so the truth is that that is an issue across the world.
Yeah.
And my client population is diverse, so I can speak to that. It's not just in the Liberian community. However, I will say to what Delarue was saying, I think part of the challenge we have in our own community is that the dysfunction is so normalized. It's very normalized. So because of that, it's almost like the next generation is not afraid to make the same mistakes as the past generation. Right? And what we should be doing as a people, as a culture, is that we should be evolving. And it almost seems like we're not. So I do understand where you're coming from. Now, having said that, in terms of being discouraged regarding relationships, I think the truth is that most of us come to marriage from a very unhealthy place. Because almost all of us have some kind of attachment injury. We don't look at it as trauma. We see it as life, right? So we come with those dysfunctions into the relationship, And I always give the simple example of, say you live with your parents, and in order to keep the peace in your home, you retreat to your room when guests are around, or when your parents are arguing, or if your parents are mad at you, you go to your room, you close your door. You're used to doing that. Now you get married, and you have a disagreement with your spouse, or as we would say in marriage, you fight with your spouse, because fighting is normal. You fight with your spouse. Now you want to go close the door and sleep in the guest room for 4 days. Right? Exactly. But you've been used to doing that to calm your anxiety. So guess what? That is going to be what you do naturally. It's a natural adaptation. You're going to gravitate towards that, even though it's dysfunctional. So I say this to say that most of us don't ruin our marriages because we're bad people.
No.
It's because we don't know any better.
Yeah.
So I would say to you, don't be afraid to date and explore relationships.
Yes.
And just be mindful of your thoughts. Here's the research. The research is that we have over 50,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Right? Out of those 50,000, 80% are negative. So if we're just walking and being very mindful of what we're thinking, what we're putting out there, how we're engaging each other, even that is a start to a healthy relationship.
Interesting.
So to answer, I think it was Glendy asked earlier. She said, or someone asked if I was dating, and I said no, not until December.
Yes.
Because I decided for a year to become more self-aware of my thoughts in regards to relationships, so I can practice what they call CBT. When you catch the negative thought, you want to become aware of it, not judge it, but notice it, pay attention to it, and replace it with a more positive thought that aligns with what you do want, right? So I decided that I don't want, I dated I've been divorced for 3 years now. I had a great time, but I noticed through those experiences that I do have this negative perspective in terms of marriage, especially when I'm dealing with a Liberian man. When I'm dealing with a man from a different culture, I have a different experience, but I like Liberian men because we understand each other culturally. It's just easier. I don't have to explain why the stockfish smell in the house, and I will air and put Fabulous on the stove later on. There's certain things culturally that are easier, and for the most part, I've only dated like men most of my life. But I noticed that this was an issue, and when I became aware of it, I decided to take steps to correct it so that I can have a more secure attachment experience. Yeah. Right. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result,
insanity. Yep.
Right. So that's why December will be my 1 year mark. I'll be back on the market with some new thoughts.
So I have a couple of questions.
I got that 1 second. So before you go to your question, I don't want to lose. I wrote down what you said. Of course, the poetic thing in me. You said, make real the things you desire.
Yeah.
How can you? So you're making it real to whom? To yourself?
You have to, first of all, be aware of what you want.
Yes.
First thing. I always wanted a romantic partner. My father taught me how men's supposed to be romantic. I saw it and I liked it, right? I wanted somebody who will hold my hand, somebody who will sit down and eat at dry rest together and let you and watch a show and be talking through the show.
Talk kids.
All that feels like love to me, right? Having a man that pay all my bills does not feel like love. I could pay my own bills. I like your money. It's nice, but I will not substitute the day-to-day interaction for the money. And it's really important to be clear on this because our culture tried to teach me that having a man pay the bills was enough. And I was very lonely in my house. And I don't want that. And I have to be honest with myself that doesn't work for me. It can work for other women, but for me, you pay all the bill, buy all the new car. When you not hold my hand, you give me that dry rest, and for us to let you the love not there, right? But I have to be honest with myself about what it is that I actually want, and then seek out realistic, real examples of it. Like I have people in my life that have wonderful relationships. I had to go looking for them because I pay attention to the negative, like what I said, right? My Auntie Eileen, Uncle Richard, my mom's friends from college. Those people have been married, I think, my whole life. They have a beautiful relationship, but I never looked for it. I just have it because I'm so used to seeing them, right? I started engaging them in conversation, talking to them about their marriage. How did y'all make it this long? Things like that, right? So once I got clear on what I wanted, I decided that I wanted to remarry. I went looking for realistic examples of it. And now when I'm watching TV or on Facebook and I'm watching negativity about relationships, I pay attention to the thoughts that go in my own mind, like, where God, why would I be like, woo? No, no. I arrest those thoughts, and I remind myself that that's a small slither of the population. There are 8 billion people on this planet. 4 billion of them are men. There's no scarcity. I'm not special. God couldn't have made my one lady. There's somebody to match my suit,
Yeah.
And so I do this inner work on a daily basis. It's not always easy, but it's so worth it.
I got that.
I have a question for each of you. I'm going to ask Goumah first, and then I'll come to you, Delarue. You said something earlier, Goumah, and it made me think about my relationship with my husband. You said we fight. The first fight I had with my husband was 15 years into our marriage. Honest to God. And it was a bad fight because I don't know if it built up or what, but we are, and I can be candid here. My husband and we are friends. We like each other, right? That's the, and I think that's why this marriage is working, because I've been married before. We genuinely like each other. My question to you is, and I still struggle with this, and yes, people, I am in therapy. I tell you that all the time. But they still, the American woman help me here, so maybe the Liberian woman will help me. I am my husband's polar opposite. He's very quiet. He's mild. He's, I am cruel, true and true. My father's cruel. My mother's Nigerian. So I have all of those aggressive, loud, all of those strong tendencies. I have all of them, and I embrace them, and I love the woman that I am. Sometimes I can want fight with a man, but the man ain't fighting man. That my one can be on it. I can try. And I tell him, dude, you gotta fight. You gotta say something. And he's like, babe, it's fine. No, it's not fine. You and I, we need to hash this out. How do I get him to understand that fighting I think it's necessary, because he needs to express what he's feeling, and I don't think he does that.
Is the question for me?
Yes.
So this is interesting. Is he complaining that he is bothered by something? And he may not verbalize it, but silence is communication.
Well, you always silent, man. You happy, or you dead quiet.
Yeah, but silence is communication. So, and there are many different ways to get someone to express what they're feeling. Maybe he may not be the person who likes the exchange, a verbal exchange. Does he like to write? If he likes to write, he could always write something out to you. Or you could be very clear and say, I'm trusting that your silence is not a threat to the marriage, that we're okay, meaning you're not holding things in and not expressing them to me. And then one day it all blows up, right? I'm trusting that. And if that's not the case, then I'm also hoping that we're good friends enough to where you will sit me down and say, you know what? I know I'm quiet, but today we need to talk.
Okay. Interesting. I haven't quite put it that way. Usually I'll say, we ain't going anywhere. We ain't doing nothing until we talk about this. It was like, what do you want me to say? I'm fine. I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, I will try. The next question for you, Delarue. Why can I say your name today?
Okay,
Delarue. You said that you waited a whole year. And I'm only asking this question from my perspective, so y'all don't come at me. In my entire adult life, since I started dating and being married, I've never been single.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I always say, it would be nice as an adult, not that I want to get a divorce or anything, but I would like to experience that. How do you go a whole year? And what do you do with yourself a whole year? So someone comes to you and say, "Can I take you out to, take you out?" And you said, "No, you gotta hit me up around December." And and how do you take care of that sexual desire? I mean, your Bob can do so much for so long, but a whole year, no, I need, warmth and all of that. How do you sustain yourself, and what does that year look like?
So I think it's important to recognize that we're such individuals, right? Like every human is different. And as a result, we have different requirements for interaction, right? So whether it's the frequency or the intensity of the interaction. For someone like myself coming out of very traumatic experiences, too much of you is pressurizing, right? So for me, and I've done it. The ideal relationship in the last couple of years has been long distance. People complain, "Oh, long distance is hard." It all right for me. I don't want you here every day. I don't want to cook. I don't want to be doing all that extra stuff. Like I'm trying to take care of me. I just want us to travel, have a good time, talk on the phone, and I've got a kid that I'm taking care of. I'm a new single parent. I'm trying to navigate this life. I don't want anybody like here. At least not at that time. I didn't want that. And I think we need to make it okay for people to be wherever they are at any given stage and place in life, right? So for that time, that's what I needed. It worked out well, right? I also was at a place where, and I'm honest enough, I didn't want a relationship that was too deep, that would require me to do that inner work of recognizing I have these unhealthy paradigms in regards to relationship. Blah, blah, blah. I wasn't ready for all that. I was trying to get over the grief of losing my son, try to get over the grief of losing my marriage, try to get over the grief of leaving Liberia. That was, I did not want to come back to the States. I was one of the people that were hauling me on that there going COVID plea, right? Because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared, financially prepared, So I came here and I settled. I didn't want especially with a Liberian man, someone to take care of, because that's how our culture kind of situates a relationship. I need to be taken care of. And so that how I was like, well, if you would take care of me, then maybe we can make it work. But if I got to take care of you, then it's not going to work. So you can imagine that might be off-putting to some. So I did date, but I dated in a way that was okay for me.
Got it.
So when I moved from there now to say, okay, you know what? After that relationship didn't work out, I hesitate to say it didn't work out. It did what it's supposed to do. Like, you know what I mean? But post that stage, I was like, you know what? Let me sit back and really assess how I feel, what I want in this new year of life. Do I want more of that? I want to do something different. What feels right? And the only way to figure that out is to sit with yourself for a little bit, right? Sit with yourself a little bit. And part of my work that I've been doing over the last 3 years is just re-exploring myself. I grew up as a good Liberian girl. Good Liberian girls do what they're told. They follow this blueprint to the T. And I mean, it's kind of unfortunate because I became an adult. I was not really quite sure what I like. I've been doing what I was told my entire life. So I needed to kind of go through this process of self-discovery. And part of that self-discovery is discovering men. There are a lot of things that I've learned that I don't like about the interactions that we traditionally have. And I need something a little different. I would not have been able to come to this understanding had I not taken that time. So in terms of like sex and sexual pleasure and stuff like that, I mean, I have like a go-to person if I need to really be with someone. And we're okay with what we've got going on. You see what I'm saying? Like we're grown, he's grown, and we make it work. It's not going to be public. I'll probably die or no one know he, and we all okay with that. But I also am very well informed on my own body and how to take care of my own sexual needs. I will never turn that over to another human being.
Okay. I'm glad we covered that so people understand when you say, you're solo for.
Yeah, I mean, relationship-wise, I can have sex if I want to. But for me, I like the relationship and the sex together.
Got it.
So it's not something I'm going to do all the time because it just doesn't feel succulent and juicy. It's like.
It's
So
just maintenance.
let me, let me ask. So we have Goumah, marriage counselor, and then we have life coach. Okay. So you have a couple. There's a problem. One person wants to see a counselor, the other person doesn't. What happens?
Why you want to go first?
Sure. Well, I mean, and usually that's what happens actually.
That's everyday thing.
Yeah, that's not uncommon at all. Normally, one person will come in, and to be honest with you, it's not always a bad thing, because here's what happens. Most times when we have problems within the marriage, each person thinks the other person is the issue. If that person can just get fixed, then everything will be okay.
Yep.
So, I'm here to change my partner. If you can change my partner, would be great.
Mhm.
So, but then as they start to do the individual work, they realize, I have some things that I need to take care of.
Yep.
And then what's happened for me that I've seen in my practice is they'll start to make that shift, and all of a sudden the other person gets on board, because now they're seeing something different.
Right.
Not the same thing in the house every day. That dance begins to change. And once the dance begins to change, then the person goes, okay, now I'm curious. Even if I'm not going for it to work, let me just go and see what's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Delarue?
So, from my perspective, regardless of whoever starts the couples therapy, it's great. There's something called ecosystems theory, which means you impact your environment impacts you. You going to therapy will create so much clarity for you and help you kind of unpack the things that are like gray and behind you that you just can't make sense of, that it'll impact your thinking, and how you think impacts how you behave. It changes what you say, right? And then also in therapy, one of the things people don't realize, I think one of the most valuable things you get out of therapy are skills. You do a lot of skill building. You learn a lot of new skills. So let's say the husband goes to therapy, wife is reluctant. Maybe the way you were asking her to come before was one indicative of accusation or blame or those kind of things. Perhaps in a therapy session, they can do some communication training where maybe he can speak to her in a way that will lend her to be more open to the concept or to the conversation, right? So no matter how you get to therapy, go. If you won't go by yourself, go. You want to go as a couple, go. I'm telling you, it's money well spent. You will never be the same. You will never be the same. You get a good therapist, go in there, it will change your life.
Yeah.
Okay. We always hear people when we talk about therapy and seeing a therapist, people it's almost always linked to opposite sex. So I have a husband or he has a wife, and then so the opposite sex, they're man and woman, they're going to therapy. I want us to talk about something different. So you're best friends and you're two female, you're best friends and you're clashing. Would you ever recommend therapy? Because there are some friends who want to remain friends forever, but they just don't seem to get it. I want us to talk a little bit about therapy in friendship, not in marriage. It could be your girlfriend, therapy in friendship with women, or it could be therapy in friendship with men. Is that something that you all transcribe to, or something you would encourage?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's enough of an issue for you that you call me, I'm certainly open to it, because that means that relationship is important to you, right? For us, like, we work with the entire family, and if, like, for some people, friends are more valuable than siblings. They bring that much joy and context to your life. So there's no limit on who you can work with. I even work with organizations where the people are not even related, they just work together every day, So yeah, definitely.
I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, if there's someone out there who's struggling with this, I think the podcast is also called Big Friendship, but there's a book for sure. I read the book. The book is called Big Friendship. And one of the best friends in that book is actually from Sierra Leone, I believe. Yeah, and it's a really good book. It's about two friends who were really, really close and decided to have some serious conflict within the friendship, and they did not want to lose that friendship. Then they started a podcast together, so it became really, technical. So they found a therapist and were able to work through it, and they're still good friends, and they have the podcast going. It's a big time podcast out here. So yeah, absolutely, I highly, highly recommend it. If you have a problem with listen, therapy is all about relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
It's about skills, as Delarue said. It's about gaining insight. I would say insight is first, even before skills. It's about gaining the insight, then the skills. But then it's also about maintaining relationships,
Mm-hmm.
because we were created for connection.
Mm-hmm.
So if don't lose your friend. If you can find a therapist, find one.
Can I just also add? I think in general, we kind of minimize the impact of friendship on our quality of life and on our health and well-being.
Mhm.
For women specifically, we generally outlive our spouses. And the relationships that kind of turn to sustain you through your 70s and 80s are usually friendships, right? Even like earlier than that. But I'm just trying to say the reality of the situation is, if you're female, your chances of outliving your spouse are very high. If you have children who are adults, if they're living in these great United States or the Western world, they're going to be super busy because of the lack of support system. Your female friendships are what you can kind of lean on at the end of the day to kind of keep yourself kind of like happy. Those relationships are very, very important. There are correlations to your actual physical health, right? Women who have healthy female friendships tend to live longer. Married women have shorter lifespans than single women. So I'm saying these things, well, I'm not saying it in a negative way. I'm trying to say that all your relationships are important. Don't underestimate the value of your female friendships, your female male friendships. Like, there are some people I know who are married, and I used to be one of them because I was overwhelmed trying to keep the marriage going, totally neglect our friends.
Mm.
And then God forbid a relationship shakla. Where you coming back to? And I say friends. And then most of those people have
It's
moved
the come
on,
up bit.
Yeah.
right? God forbid, but 50% of marriages end in divorce. So it's something we need to contend with.
Hmm.
Those people have moved on. And now you're looking for them to be a support to you. And they're like, very man,
That would be me.
So let me just clarify something, so people don't say, but the marriage therapist was on there and she allowed that research to fly. So married women who are unhappy
Yes.
in their marriages are the ones who, right. So if the marriage is not healthy, then they end up, losing their lives earlier. All those things happen. But if they're in a healthy marriage and if you are friends and all those things like you, Agatha, then you have a higher chance of surviving than the ones who are not.
Delarue, I was scared. I thought I was coming down soon now.
The research was actually making a case for the fact that if you're in an unhealthy marriage,
right.
If you are single, they're saying don't remain in an unhealthy marriage just because you're afraid to be single, because there are health consequences to that.
Correct.
But in general, people with healthy connections, married or single or friend or sister, your family and friends are extremely important to your overall health and well-being. So if you can protect those relationships, nurture those relationships, it's very, very important. And there doesn't gotta be no blood relative. Like, once you love them, they love you, their respect is there. Work for your relationship.
Yeah.
I am no therapist or a life coach, but I honestly believe that all of what you're saying that leads to a healthy and long lasting life is truly self-care and self-love. Because for me to have a healthy relationship with my husband, I first of all, and Lenny I say this all the time, so I don't think they're gonna beat me. I believe I'm the shit. If you smell something, it's me. I think I'm it. So I have that confidence that makes me feel that the relationships that I have, be it with my husband, my children, my siblings, my friends, I think I present a better me to become that better, whatever I am to them. So first of all, self-care, self-love, you have to like yourself, or you cannot be anything good to anyone else. I totally believe that, just from my experience. I ain't go to school for this, so
That's okay, but that's very true. But Tabitha, let me just say this, because in our culture, something I've observed for a long time, since I'm a little girl to now, is that we're really good at tolerating bad behaviors from people. We're very good at doing that, right? Because we're raised to do that. Be kind, be nice, be respectful. So as we're talking about friendship here, I want to be really, really clear that those friendships, they need to be healthy friendships.
yes.
They don't need to be dysfunctional friendships. You should not be tolerating bad behavior from people just because you want the length of your friendship,
Right.
to be bragged about. Being
Agreed.
friends for 20 years and it's dysfunctional is as unhealthy as being married for 20 years and it's dysfunctional.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Let me jump in here and just share something that will kind of illuminate what Goumah is saying. I always felt in the Liberian community, like people try to pressure me to do things and be things that I'm not because they wanted me to be. Like, I'm not the friend to call to fry chicken for the funeral. You will be disappointed. I'm not that girl.
Oh Lord, why you brought up this funeral to the monkey can't talk about?
No, but I'm just trying to say the function.
I get you. I get you.
You want friendships that allow you to remain your whole self.
Correct.
And you remain respected as your whole self.
Yes.
And you need a check, I will read it in 2 seconds.
Yes.
But I'm not coming to fry no chicken. I'm not bringing no food. I don't like that, right?
Yeah.
And people try to say that I'm not a good friend because I don't want to do that. I had to cut those friendships. Those friendships can't even go nowhere. My friends know I'm not that girl. You got a problem. You want somebody to talk your thing to. You want it to be secret. That means call me. And so people have to respect who you are, and you respect who your friends are for the friendship to thrive.
I have a saying, and it sums it all up. They're not your era.
Nope.
Everybody get an era.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Looking food for the people, they're not your era. And it's okay.
Yes.
Everybody has their era. You get your own era.
Yep.
And when we need your era to shine, for you to showcase and be that your era. You will show
we like
up
to
and
pressure
show up.
people. We like to pressure people. And
yeah.
our culture, and when the person doesn't comply, they say, oh, they want offer. She mean, she did, she that, and it's a really unfortunate to people. Yeah, not nice at all. And if you're being bullied like that in your friendship, that's not one of the quote unquote healthy friendships we're talking about.
Exactly.
Can't say what you want to say when you're around there. I have one. You got a question, Akata?
I want to do a time check, and I want to make sure that Goumah and Delarue are both okay, because it seems like we're gonna need to go a little bit over today.
Okay, I'm okay.
All right. All right, go ahead, Glendy.
Yeah. So and this is going to lead us into a training thing on Facebook. But I wanted to ask the marriage counselor, in all of your years of being a professional counselor, have you been successful? Have you ever been successful in averting a divorce, stopping a divorce?
Many times, yeah.
Share one with us.
I think I'm sorry.
Share one with us.
Well, so I'm going to be really careful because my clients' confidentiality is really important. But let me tell you one that was really, really, I think for me that stood out. Not only were they having real marital issues because they have very poor communication, but they came from two different religious backgrounds. One was Muslim, and they started off both being Muslims, and then one converted to Christianity. And they were Muslim, not just from anywhere in the world, but from the Middle East, like all the way from there.
Right.
So it was really, really, important to each of them. And they came in, and at first I thought, boy, oh boy, all right, how are we going to navigate this?
But how are we going to get there?
Yeah. Well, my first concern, if I'm being very honest here, my first concern was me knowing that I'm a Christian marriage and family therapist. My thing was, how is this person going to relate to me right? Here I am now. I'm supposed to be your therapist, and you are very clear as to who I am. But I
Right.
think at the end of the day, the spouse who remained Muslim said to stayed with me the entire time. And as they were just being discharged, the person turned to me and said, "You know, if I ever had a reason to consider Christianity, it would be because of you."
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. Said, because I had all my doubts. I didn't want to see you. I didn't want to trust you. I didn't want to be here. I thought you would take sides, all of those things. But not only are we healed, but I feel like you truly show me what love is. And it doesn't matter what religion I came from. So I think for me, that really stands out.
Mama, I think I need to have you talk to the heathen Emil.
So I wanted to just add something. I think it's really important for those people watching and also you guys on the show. Even if you believe your relationship is healthy, I think counseling has value in maintenance.
Absolutely.
We don't wait for our car to break down before we go fix it. And I'm
Exactly.
saying this as someone who went to counseling as a married person. And part of our work was trying to get to a place. Do we want this? Do we not? Because sometimes it takes two people to make a relationship work. You can't force somebody to remain married to you, right?
Yeah.
And
True.
part of the work you can do is to come to a decision to stay, right? Or to separate, and then to separate in a way that is safe for your children and
Right.
doesn't destroy everybody. So, but if your relationship is healthy, I always encourage my clients, do wellness checks. Like I have a quarterly wellness check that you can do with me just as an individual if you want to. You think everything is okay, come let's have a conversation, let's check and let's make sure. Because the idea is to stay well,
Yes.
to keep the relationship healthy. You can always learn more skills. I bet you for those people who maybe have things on their chest, they're not really saying anything. Maybe to this particular day, they go to therapy, don't have anything to say. Maybe tomorrow or the next time they might, but just having that open air and space in your relationship for those check-ins with your therapist, you would see the wonders that will work on your relationship. If your relationship is at a 90, it's going to hit a 200, right?
Yes.
If it's a very negative and toxic relationship, even if your desire is to separate, I still think you should go to therapy first.
Yeah.
Go to therapy first and make sure that what you want, because divorce it brings out the ugliest parts of human beings, and it's very difficult to go back and fix a relationship after you pull that trigger. So before you reach to that place, go to therapy. Just see it can't kill you.
Yeah. I'm a huge supporter of therapy. I say that all the time. I am who I am because I get my mental health checked.
And be ready for the shenanigans when you get there. Because a lot, and I always say, why did make him look at me? What did he know?
Of course. And like you said, you go when the relationship is great.
Yeah.
But you also go when the relationship is bad, and you go all in between.
Yeah.
I will have to say I credit this relationship being successful to my previous marriage that wasn't. And I felt like a failure. That what could I have done better? Did I make the right decision? Things of that sort. But I didn't bring all of the baggage from that. I brought some of it, some of what I thought was important, because I needed it. I still needed some of what the good, bad, and the ugly. I needed some of that to be able to be the wife that I am today to Mr. Joseph. So I say Mr. Joseph when he made me first. I call him Mr. Joseph. but again, I say all of that, and when people see your marriage from outside looking in, they assume all is golden. All is not always golden. I try to be as transparent as as I can, and still maintain some level of privacy. But marriage is hard work. There are some days, Glennie, I say I want to choke that man if I could. But there are other days when like, ooh, that's my boo. You know what I mean? So we all go through it. It's just, what have I learned from my past that I've carried here, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm using all of that to make sure that I'm present in this marriage and that I'm successful. I say I because I contribute to it, right? Before there can be a we or an us, I have to be legit. I have to be correct. I have to be prepared. So the us and the we can be all of those good things that we want it to be. So that's my 2 cents. But let's get back to the trending topics.
Just so I like this comment here about Kulaba. Got to be better at breaking up.
Yes.
And a lot of stuff. I like that she is, I'm a mind person, so I like poets and these things. It's like, I wish I knew this to have been better when I wanted to get divorced, because it's like, if you take time to get better at breaking up, then it's probably a little bit smoother for you to be able to cope. But if you're not better, if you're broken there, it takes a longer time. I think there's some aspect of it when I getting divorced at 29 after 29 years of being married was tough. But when I got to where I needed to make that decision to get divorced, I was still broken because my kids were some of them were still young, but it's like I don't know. I wish I knew then that I needed to take care of me and be better for me so that it wouldn't take so long to be able to overcome it. So I thank Uluba for making that comment. We're here today. We're talking to Goumah and Delarue, life coach Delarue, and licensed marriage. If you're out there, these are well-learned ladies. They know. I mean, even Agatha and I right now, we're going through therapy with them for the past hour.
And we need it,
yeah, we sure do, and we want to. It's gonna stick with me. He said, "Make real the things you desire." That has stuck with me. It's like there's
what is your interpretation of that? Because mine different. The things I desire. Tell me what you think. What that mean for you?
There are different places you're going. I'm not going to that place.
It's okay. It's okay. The woman said we are all individuals, and I agree.
Yes,
what it means to you is different from what it means to me.
Exactly. But the thing about it is, I think it's also twofold. It's like the things I desire, I may not be able to have now. So how can I make it real?
So here's the thing, right? Your brain does not know the difference between fantasy and reality. This is the reason why, subconscious programming works really well. It's not as complicated as it sounds. You can really kind of look it up on the internet. But Glendy, in order for your reality to change, your mind has to change. You have to get comfortable with the ideas of the things that you want. You have to be able to pinpoint it, to say, this is what I want, right? And then when you say, like, okay, for example, if I say, okay, Glendy, do you want to remarry?
No.
Okay. When you say no, what kind of feelings come up for you? You don't have to share, but I'm saying you notice that, right? Because there's information in those feelings. If you're saying, oh, no, I don't want it in that kind of way, there's something there that we need to unpack, right? If you're saying, no, I thought about it and I've decided no, maybe a committed companion or something along those lines, like Oprah and Stedman might be.
I just need a coddler, that's all.
What does that look like? It can take so many forms. Are we talking Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell? Are we talking Oprah and Stedman? I mean, if only you know. You have that clarity in your mind of what it is you're looking for. When it shows up, you will recognize it. If not, when it shows up, you will say, "Ooh, Jesus, my God, I don't want to." And that's what you don't want to happen. So making real for yourself that which you want to see in your life means being able to identify it, say it. I say Mojabi are talking all over the place now, but at least to yourself, be honest.
She can be talking there.
I know.
She can be talking there. She says she's a virgin. I don't know how she's going to revert to being a virgin.
Okay, that's another thing too. Be careful what you say.
Out.
If you want to have sex, stop saying you're a virgin.
But I'm a virgin.
Okay, but I'm just saying something.
Listen, she found somebody good to mash her roast. That's why she's talking that foolishness for.
But how she will find that in a man that can mash her roast good when he's scared of virgin because he want his own muscle?
Don't mind Auntie bluffing in front of the camera or behind closed door.
Don't mind. But anyway,
see the problem though. Okay, this is a perfect example. You guys are on a platform that probably exposes you to over thousands of people on a weekly basis. God knows how many people in a year. Maybe one man in the pocket corner there listening, and he liked Glendy. He has a crush on Glendy.
They're
and
plenty.
Good man.
They're plenty.
But someone who she desires, like he has the characteristics and all those things. They may want to approach you in a DM, but the way Glendy talking about virgin, and Glendy, you married a pastor before, so the man might be scared. You see what I'm saying? You gotta take time the things you put out there because he maybe it's his one time watching. He's like, oh, they were more serious. She born again virgin.
But in all fairness, and I think that where you're going is true. In all fairness, is like the reason why I like that quote is because I have to be ready. I don't think I'm ready. I mean, there's so many things I desire, so many things I see. It's like, yes, I want this, but then when I think about it, I'm like, do I really want that?
So since you left the pastor,
since
you left the pastor, you mean nobody never Marshall Roche?
Nobody.
Oh man.
Nobody. No, not it.
That's why you can just be offer like that to people. We need to.
Yeah, I will be even more offer to you.
I'm bringing something tomorrow for you that will help you.
Yeah, take that.
It's called
Glendy, don't listen to the people yet. There's such a thing as secondary virginity.
Thank you.
Mama, please stop.
Thank you.
Mama, please stop.
Thank you, Goumah. I'm so excited you said it because every time I talk to these people, they don't believe it. I keep saying it. They think I'm just saying it. It's the truth.
Okay, so let's talk about what you do want. So, okay, yes, you're a virgin. Is it your desire to remain a virgin?
No, it's not.
Okay, cool.
Suck it there.
Right? Well, let's talk about what we do want, right? Like one of the things that was really interesting to me, I didn't realize I really desire to be with someone who has integrity. It's really important to me. It's something I value a lot. And not just as something on a list. It makes me respect you. Like I don't be like, God,
it's hot.
Right? It's something that I had to it took me time to figure out what that was, what it looks like in action, right? That I man that even when I'm not there, he conducts himself in the same way. Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
That man would do it for me. But my friend would be like, see that man that he don't even shake. If you don't drink while I'm present, don't drink while I'm not there. Like if you drink while I'm there, drink, when I'm there, like they're not there, be the same person, right? Have that consistency with you. It's a huge turn on for me, right? But it took time for me to learn that because when our mom said he got good job, he got good insurance, that integrity was not on the list, right? So that's part of the self-discovery work, right?
Yeah.
You have to.
But good. We're uncovering a lot of things, and in all fairness, it does help. It will take some time for me because being divorced after 29 years is really not easy. There are some things that there are some hurts that still blocks my freedom. And it's like when I'm thinking about it, it's like, am I willing to do this again? So it's gonna take a long time. It's actually has been more than 6 years now overall because so it's gonna take, I'm saying separated and all of that, it's gonna take a while, but it's time will heal everything.
Yeah, cobwebs too.
Can I give you
please give me what our cobweb business? Yes.
I would like to offer you some verbiage that will ease what you're saying so that you're not cutting yourself off, right? Mm-hmm. At the appointed time, you will meet your partner. Right? We're not giving it a long time. Come, you said long time, that's a problem again. So saying the man won't marry.
Okay, at the appointed time, he will show up.
And he will match your rose.
For things to happen.
Yes, he will match the rose. I got that. Exactly. So I don't know. I think I want to talk about the training topic, but I think we should talk about the menopause thing first. Because that training topic is, I don't want us to lose track of this mental health and menopause. There are a lot of women, a lot of us, a lot of people who's going through that. and we want to approach it from a Liberian perspective and also from a mental health perspective, so people understand what's going through. So take it away. Mental health.
Also, Delarue, let's talk about it from a relationship perspective as well.
Yes.
I see
Yes.
a lot of men joining, and I have a couple of friends that are going through. We are at that age now. Some of us are at the age now where we are experiencing menopause. For some of us, our parents, our mothers never told us about what menopause was. We just know, oh my God, I got hot flashes and all of that. But there's much more to that than just the hot flashes, right? So I'll turn it over to the two of you, but I do want us to incorporate the relationship aspect of it. I hear some of my male friends complaining that I get always tired, always hold this, she tell her back. She want me to tell her, she want, and then I hear my female friends saying, I just don't feel like it. And then there's some of us that can't get enough of it. So, it's a spectrum of different things that we go through. So let's start first we'll start with you, Delarue. Tell us about menopause. Let's define it as you know it, and then some of the symptoms that you have experienced.
So keep in mind, I am not a doctor. So I don't want to misrepresent any information here. I'm not an OBGYN, I'm not a doctor. And I really am more interested in the mental health aspect of menopause, but I'm just going to define it for the sake of conversation, right?
Right.
So there's two pieces to it. First, you have perimenopause. Perimenopause should be that 1 year lead up to the cessation of your menstrual cycle. So it doesn't just stop. It'll kind of like slow down, kind of be sporadic. Like how when it first started, it used to come and it won't come, it will come, it won't come. So you have that initially, and then you will get to a place where your period will all the way go. My OBGYN told me that you cannot be called menopausal until the period has gone 100%. Right? So anything before that is called perimenopause. Mm-hmm. And so in perimenopause, which I feel like is the most unfair place, you may still have your period and also have some of the beginning signs of menopause, which could be the physical symptoms, hot flashes, increased levels of fatigue. You could have increased libido or a decreased libido. You could have increased vaginal dryness or increased vaginal wetness. I mean, every human being is so different. Right. There's no one way that it will show up for you, right? But I think what's important is that in our community, as I've started to ask these questions, there is a lot of silence from relatives. And I think there's this general idea that if we talk about menopause, that means we're old, right? And I've heard comments from my older relatives saying, "Oh, the sun in Maria hot, so I can't even tell whether I hot flash or I hot sun." So it's been challenging getting information, and so I've really had to kind of dig in. But from the mental health perspective, and I thought this was crazy. Some of the things that you may experience will be increased anxiety. Now, if you're someone you're unfamiliar with the idea of anxiety or that anxious feeling, it can be kind of startling, right? To all of a sudden. And then also it can interrupt your sleeping. And when you don't sleep well, you wake up cranky. When you go in this great United States where you have to wear 1,000 hats, do 1,000 things all by yourself, you are overwhelmed. And so it gets you into this vicious cycle of being tired. And I mean, a lot of women are going through that, Rosie. It's really very, very difficult. In the meantime, we're usually at ages where our daughters are picking up their periods. So we're dealing with their hormones, trying to estimate what happened to them. Then we always say, we're going through so much at the same time. We also have older parents who may be dealing with significant illness. They're declining, and we're grieving that as we're watching it happening. There's a lot going on for women at that time. So one of the things I beg of our male partners and our female partners, bear patience. Bear patient. It won't last forever, but it's a transition period in which the woman has to kind of relearn her body, understand what works, what doesn't work, and things like that. And there's no shortcut, even with medication. There's lots of different ways to handle it, but you got to figure out what's going to work for you. There's no one prescription. So going back and forth to the OBGYN, your primary care physician, and going to therapy also helps a lot too, because that change in your own mind, like, oh my God, getting old, I'm a sucking at you say to the young thing. What do you mean by I entering menopause? You know, that in and of itself is disturbing, you know, and then other things on your body want to be doing different zigzag and thing. All those things mess with your mental because of how you see yourself. And I challenge all women to redefine themselves in this new space, right? Look at it as an opportunity to further explore life and yourself, right? There are new things about you that are beautiful. There are new things. Yeah, you had your core, but there are things you know that you didn't know before about life.
Right.
You know? So try to find the positive. Do not allow this change to make you think, because the reason you are going through this is because you're a creator. You can't separate the two. If you couldn't have children, then you will not go through this, but you can have children. And this is just part of being a woman. And we need to normalize this conversation and give people resources and tools, right? There are herbal remedies. Talk to your doctor. There's all kinds of things, estrogen treatment, birth control, some of them scary, some of them, you know, talk to your doctor and find a way. But in terms of your mental health, if you notice that you're having racing thoughts, you notice like you're waking up in the night and your thoughts just kind of going. If you notice that your mood swings, like you happy, you sad, go and see a therapist. Call me. You know, Goumah, I don't know if you deal with such issues as well, but maybe how it relates to your relationship, because a lot of women can get really, really unkind in this space because they're feeling uncomfortable.
I like the way she said unkind. They can be mean.
You know, and it's not your fault per se, but it is your responsibility to resolve this thing.
Yes.
Right?
Mama?
Yes, no, I deal with it every day because I'm working with couples, right? So I'm seeing this all the time. I think she touched a lot of things I'm not going to repeat. So let me just talk about the things that you will see within the marriage and how women can work on that. And again, I want to first preface this by saying, talk to your OBGYN. That's my frame of reference for you, because your primary care, that may not be the person's specialty. But your OBGYN will be able to help you with those hormonal issues that you're dealing with as you go through menopause. So having said that, I want to talk a lot about vaginal dryness. We're all adults in this room, I'm hoping. And if we're not, well, you're on here. So, but
wow, I got that.
So, you know, let's talk about vaginal dryness. That's a very common one that I experience in session with my females. And two things. One, I'm glad we have men on, and if you are dating somebody or you're married to a woman who is at that stage, it's really, really important, not only for her to know her body. I feel that we put so much pressure on women. Let's pay our own bills. Let's pay our this. Let's do our that. We can do all those things. I know that. But marriage is about partnership. It's about sharing. So it is important for you to also get to learn your wife's body.
Yep.
It's not just for her to know her body. Maybe before you could do, stimulation on the clitoris. Maybe at this point, it's not going to work for her. You need to ask her, what is it that's going to turn you on now when we're sexually intimate? And then you need to have her guide you in the bedroom. If I touch this and you're not comfortable, tell me so that I can do something else. Tell me what works for you. This is teamwork. So learn your wife's body. Don't leave everything for her to learn for herself. That is unfair to her. Also, use lubrication. A lot of men, they get very excited. And I'm not saying this in a negative way, because I know we beat men up for always spawning on the women and not giving them the chance to sleep at night, and they're dragging behind you, and the women are getting mad and pushing them aside. But I always say, if he's doing that, it's because he desires you. Men who don't desire you don't really do that. They find okay. So if your husband is desiring you, or if you're desiring your wife in that way, then get familiar with lubricants. There's so many different kinds out there. You have KY jelly, you have some natural ones, like there's one called Good Clean. It's very organic, very clean. Women love it. find those things and use those things with your wife, because it's going to make intimacy pleasurable. It's going to make it desirable for her, because if she's not hurting and she's not burning, she will want to be more intimate with you. If you are just penetrating her when she's dry and irritated, it's going to cause a lot of friction, a lot of bleeding sometimes, and it's very painful. And that is not a nice way to experience intimacy. So really learn your wife. Go with her. Go with her to her OB visits. Even if you go to one of them, you don't have to go to all because she's not a kid, but you can go to one of them so that you're an informed husband. Be a very informed husband. You make a better husband that way.
Yeah.
And when she gets back home, you touch on a really good point. I know a lot of folks don't share too much when they come back from the doctors. I'm a nag. I want to know what he said, what happened, what the blood work said. Can I see the paper? And sometimes women aren't comfortable or don't want to bother their significant other with all of the details. But men, if you're out there listening, it's really nice for you to show that you care. Ask question. How was the doctor's visit? What did they say? Anything I could do better? So if you get involved, I think all of this is all part of having a great relationship. This is all part of the marriage. It's not just the paying of the bills and the sending the kids to school and having sex on Tuesdays and Thursdays if that's your schedule. But it's all of these things. This is that vow where they say for better or for worse. We're at that age now where there's probably more worse than there is better. So we need to help each other through this stage.
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
add
And then
something? I'm sorry. One
go
of
ahead.
the things I wanted to add, which was more of an intervention than anything for women who are experiencing perimenopause and menopause, exercise. Exercise is one of the things that will help you quickly to start to feel better. And even if it's just like 45 minutes on a treadmill, 30 minutes walk outside, do not underestimate the power of exercise to help the hormones kind of get back in line. I go every day, not because I'm wanting to be cute anymore. I have to keep
That too, though.
Yes, I mean
That-
that's a nice benefit,
that
but
too.
the misery of those hot flashes will keep you in the gym.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so
Yeah. Yeah. Exercise and water. Don't forget your water. You need to hydrate,
yeah.
because you're losing a lot of women sweat profusely with
Yes.
menopause. So make sure you're hydrating. And husbands, if it means you have to get another blanket, then get it, so that she can have that thin sheet on the bed, and you all can share and go back and forth. All of that is going to build the intimacy.
Yeah.
I actually just purchased a second fan
There you go.
yesterday that sits on my nightstand. And I wanted to share something. A lot of time, and I'm so grateful that we're having this conversation, because too many we don't talk about these things.
Yeah.
I was saying someone that I was late to meet them for brunch because I had to take 2 showers. I took the first shower. I got out the shower, and I don't know if I was brushing my teeth or I was putting on. I can't remember what I was doing. And then all of a sudden, I was drenched with sweat. I'm like, I can't go out like this. So I had to stop what I was doing and go take another shower. So you're not alone in this, and especially for us Africans that like spicy food. My OBGYN told me it's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Spicy food and alcohol. So
Yeah.
I told them I'm just going to sweat myself to death, because those two things, I'm not going to give them up. So I just deal with it. But yeah, if you're looking for something, and speak to your doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm speaking from my own personal experiences. I love pepper. It's the crew in me. And I love alcohol. It's also the crew in me. So, those two things causes you to have more of the hot flash and the sweats and all of that. So talk to your doctor and get some tips on how you can navigate through this stage in your life.
Okay. Well, that was good talking about premenopause and menopause. We hope that discussion open up to some of us. And like you say, I think it's always good to talk about some of these things. Don't be embarrassed by it. Don't shy away from it. Don't say, "Oh, I'm not going to discuss that." Everybody, every woman in their life will experience that. And if you're a man, you have a wife, you're gonna also experience it because your wife is going to go through it. So, like Agatha said, talk about it, ask
Yeah.
questions, and don't let her carry that burden alone. Don't let her feel guilty, and don't be going there and acting like you don't know that your wife is going through menopause, and you see the woman, yeah, every day she won't do something, and
And
then
she
you carry
just
yourself
sweating. Why you just
like
sweating at her
you know
for?
what a place for, acting like you know your
One of my clients told me say he can just hit the basement. Soon as he's all I yell, he said straight to the basement. I was like, that is not gonna do it.
You gotta stick around and help them out. So we want to take this home now. We want to take it home. Of course, this was a special show today. We were
Yes.
so grateful that Delarue and Goumah could come today to celebrate our second year, our second anniversary as Women with Words show on GBC. But want to take it home because the last 2 weeks it's just been a lot of stuff on Facebook, a lot of stuff. So we want to get into the we don't usually do it, but we want to do it today because we have therapists on here who can help us heal.
So
That help us heal from all the story, the rich man story, the CC story, the
so
Liberian women and the different talk shows and the castigating them. I want to let me turn this session over to Agatha because I think and don't mind this, Agatha. She will not know the stories that happening, or she will probably be off Facebook 2 3 days. Then the people talking about the time I post something, she will say, "But Ante, what are you talking about?"
and who's that?
Yes, she know she will just jump, she not miss the information, but she will make sure she get caught up on the story.
Of course, of course.
So
So
glad.
I'm gonna give the short version of what
Mhm.
transpired before we start talking about all of the different aspects of it. And I know for some of us laugh about it because we have to find comedy in life, right? But there are serious parts to it, and I think we all can learn from it.
Yes.
So there was, from what I understand, there's a couple. Cece Maintain is the lady, and Rich Man is the guy. Apparently, Cece is in America, works really hard, brings Rich Man from Liberia last September. They get married and they're living this American dream, right? And mind you, I'm going to throw some comedy in there as I give you the summary. As she brings this young man to, and the man seems younger than her, physically fit. Fizz, not my thing, but I know a lot of people dying over it. But he got a good body on him. Can't sing word a lick, but they say he's a gospel artist.
I am over
That's
this.
my point of view.
Got
Just
it.
my point of view.
God there.
Anyway,
God there.
so Cece brings this guy to America, marries him. Meanwhile, the girl's still hustling. Very industrious, right? Hardworking young lady. All this thing going on, I guess, selling her car skin. So I'm gonna give her a little
Housekeeping.
plug. If you need car skin for your food, contact her. I hear she gets some of the best cow skin. Anyway, she introduced her husband to this American lady that has a salon that she frequents. Fast forward, a tip comes out showing them having sex in the lady's salon. And remember, I told you this guy is built, well buff. He was able to physically pick this girl off the
Mm.
floor while they were having sex. It was graphic. Anyway, so he the boy laid the pipe on the American girl, y'all. The girl came from behind him. So she herself started going live about how she missed Richmond. CC dealing with it ever so often. She comes on every 2 to 5 minutes, right? 1 minute she's fine, the next minute pray for her, the next minute she don't want him, the next minute things are okay. So there's a whole lot going on. That's the gist of the story. So we're going to talk about, first of all, what I want to ask the two guests. What do you think Cece is going through based on her immediate action from the videos being exposed on Facebook, social media, all of the different talk shows and personalities having their say so. She herself has come on multiple times to talk about it. I'll start with Goumah. Goumah, how do you process that as a woman? This is your husband. You struggle to bring him to a country where you yourself are you're a stranger, right? And then this happened. How do you think she's feeling?
Well, I think we all have seen how hurt she is, right? We see the hurt. That's why she's coming on and then going off and coming on and asking for prayers. In terms of trauma, what she experienced is what we would call betrayal trauma.
Mm.
And betrayal trauma is very real. And some of the symptoms of that are what you're seeing there, the hypervigilance, questioning people. I know people are talking about that, but her, she's questioning everybody and she's watching everybody. But that's what she's going to do. That's normal. When you experience something dramatic, this was a shock to her system. Even if she thought something could have happened, maybe she didn't see it happening in this way or with this person or whatever the situation was. I'm not sure of all the details of it. But the shock to her system, she's still trying to even fathom what happened to her, right? So you go through the stages of grief when you hear that. And I think for her, she's still in that denial stage of grief, right? The denial, she's going between denial and the anger, denial and anger back and forth. And grief is not linear, okay? That's something that we need to remember here. So when you see her on and you see her one day, quote unquote, happy and one day sad, it's because grief isn't linear. She's going to ride, she has to ride the waves of grief. Okay. So she'll go between that night, I can't believe this is happening to me, and how dare he. Right? So you will see that back and forth. So that's where I see her at this time.
So Delarue, I want to flip over to the American girl. Her name is Star. So I've seen Star on social media too. I seen one time she was asking for Cash App, so people to send her money. I heard she was probably pregnant. I'm not sure how true that is. The last one I saw a few days ago, she was physically crying that she misses him. But this is also a lady that I understand is also married. So what is she going through, or how do you explain her behavior, if you could?
So a couple of things. I've watched this saga quite a lot myself, and I had to kind of pull up a little bit because I was getting a little too involved in it. And I told you it feeds into that negative paradigm that I have in my mind about relationships,
right,
community anyway, right? So that self-awareness, I had to bring myself together, become aware of it, and kind of pull away from it a little bit. But I did see the clip where Star self-reported that she was pregnant. Okay. So what Star is going through, so Star is, from what I've watched a couple of her clips, and from what she self-reported, was that she was in an unhealthy relationship. She was in she reported that her marriage was unhappy for her, it was unhealthy for her, and she and Richmond felt like they had a lot in common, and so they bonded over this lack of happiness in their individual marriages. And as strange as this all sounds, like on Facebook, we all know this happens a lot in our community. People find comfort in other people who marry and act like, well, too clean, she can't get dirty, is the whole phrase. That's how common it is in our community, right? And so it's just that these people are on Facebook. And so one of the things I wanted to even add to what CeeCee's going through, CeeCee is having her dirtiest of laundries dragged out in public. And I imagine that has exacerbated her the way she's moving through the grief stages, even. Everything on the internet, and not only that, there is a running commentary on every aspect of
that's the part.
That good English I speak in, that good English, because in the comment section people have been on her. So I just want to create a real picture here. And so now the lady who has come into the marriage or interacted with CeeCee's husband has to realize that she can get her little business going by doing the same thing she sees CeeCee doing. And it's I just cannot even imagine. I'm just saying, if my husband were having affairs, for that woman to get on Facebook and be bold like that, I'm sorry, all the education will go once I will fue. What in the Jesus? What is that?
She said we were fue.
I mean, it's just too I mean, it's bad enough you did all that stuff, but for you to get on Facebook and be going live and making sure that and then you will sell, man, you will see me to the door.
And
Professional response. The professional response is what the lady is going through. The lady is dealing with her own marriage declining. Because I watched one of the live where her husband, his Facebook handle is the king. Her husband was watching the live and he was commenting on. He said, "I'm a second go live too." Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He said so. This woman has children also in her life. You could hear small children in the background. She was like directing them to put stuff down, whatever the case may be. So this woman's life is falling apart. She went to go seek comfort. I don't know if she ever anticipated that her boom boom would be publicly displayed like that, or maybe she thought she in Richmond was eating something in the choir. Don't think they're not supposed to come out. I mean, that's supposed to happen, but I don't think she ever imagined what this level of fame will do to her. And like with people have been dealing with Star on the internet. I mean, not as much as Star. CeeCee would like her. CeeCee even commented if she were Nigerian and Nigerian people are going to drag their care, but you're like, people, you know how to support each other, so you're not dragging their care good enough. But what I did see, that lady's self-esteem is under serious attack from the comment section, you know, and she's not helping the situation by going live, right? But I think that trying to make this make sense. She's confessed on camera that she doesn't want her husband anymore. She wants a whole different man, right? And then
she want Richmond?
Yeah, she said she wants Richmond.
But all she gotta do is just pay CeeCee maintain the money she spent to bring here.
Let me tell you something. I think CeeCee really loves her husband.
Yeah, I do.
Really loves her husband.
Yeah. I really do.
And even if they give CeeCee that money, it won't do anything for that pain that CeeCee's feeling. CeeCee's not gonna want to just let that relationship go like that because, you know, she's okay. CeeCee's invested very heavily in this relationship, and she's front loaded her investment, which I don't think is a good thing for people to do.
Yes.
Right? She front loaded that investment in such a way that her return on the investment it will realize over time. By the time short, Richmond just been, I think 1 year.
September, they said 1 year.
Okay, so it's like the whole thing just cut short. So, and Star, I'm not really sure what Star is hoping to gain. I just think she's been talking about terminating her pregnancy one day, then she don't want to terminate it another day. But the mindset, I question the mindset of a woman that would dialogue ending a pregnancy online. You know, that's a very, very private thing.
Yeah.
And the internet is a permanent record. If she decides to have that child, this video would be around forever. What do you think it's going to do? Yeah, so she's obviously not very self-aware in this moment. She's also very embarrassed. I heard like when people on reading the comments, they were calling the woman transvestite and all the thing. I mean, it's funny, but can you imagine what that feels like to someone who's a biological woman to be told that by numerous people? Yes. You know, and then like unless she can't go in front, she can't come behind. CeeCee not leaving rich. I don't care what Robert and Gora say. CeeCe's not gonna leave rich.
Daria, interesting.
Yes. So. And the husband is not going to readily probably take her back because of how public this thing has been. You know, when people do these things in private, you can mango is small, but the way they think on the internet like this, I don't know.
Let me just add quickly, and I'm pretty sure you all will have a say so in this. When I look at the reality of it, I step back. Richmond is already starting in the red. In the negative. He doesn't have a job, right? He's never worked in this country before, right? He doesn't have any income. As CeeCee said, he's a liability. If Star has that baby, that's 18 years of child support, and he already in the negative. So he will always be trying to play catch up.
He also has other children, Agatha, that CeeCee's assisting him to take care of now.
They in America?
No, they're in Liberia.
They're in Liberia. But the child support that one will not be too high.
But still, it's coming from her. CeeCee got her own children.
But our asking better make some money, oh.
So I wanna look at it from a different perspective. I really feel sorry for the story.
Me too.
I feel sorry for both of them, but what I am most disappointed about is our Liberian community. So CC as a whole, we have a few talk show hosts of different women who continue to battle each other. This one gossip about me, this one do this one do the other, and so now the CC story is out. All of those people who may not be kings or they may not be friends of CC, this is an opportunity now to bash her.
Oh yeah, I see them.
Yeah, so it's like they're on every hour. They have Richmond picture on there. They're cussing one another because there are also times where there are things happening to them too. That CC also did some stuff. They just have such a
I
bad,
jump on my ways on
and that I hate to say that, but that's exactly what it is. It's like,
yeah.
But this is a serious situation. This is something where when I look at it, when I look at the story, it's like this. I'm almost identifying myself in this situation with having had a cheating relationship, somebody who cheated before. So it's almost like I want them to see that this is not just an ordinary relationship, an ordinary story. Yes, CC and the people, they can't agree. They've been fighting before. It's like, what could we do differently in our Liberian community to not identify with her in the negative,
I
or
think
to be able to help that? I'm sure there are some things that I'm just saying, I don't think, and that's just my personal opinion, I don't think the way people are responding, some people are responding and bashing her and bashing the relationship or what is going on, is the right way. So is there something else that we, and let me ask the marriage counselor, is there something else that we could have done, that we could do to be able to help I mean, yes, he did wrong. It's all out there. But the number of talk shows people are having, the number of bashing they're having on the two of them, how is it helping the situation? What is it doing?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Glendy, because based on, now I didn't know all the details of the story. I'm hearing more today.
That's why we're here at GeesBeeCee.
I'm hearing more to this story. So the truth is, if this is the kind of relationship that I guess CC has with other
yes
on Facebook, then there's not much I can say about that. As far as their own relationship, CC and the
husband and wife.
I think when this whole thing happened, if they have, because I remember, I think it was my brother who shared this with me. I said to him, I wish that even if the other person chose to come out with this, I wish the two of them had just handled this in private.
Exactly.
And let the lady, I guess, Star, let her grieve, let her do what she. But if you want your husband, because my thing was, the first thing I said, does she want this man? She may not want him anymore. So if she doesn't want it, then fair game. They're out there doing what they're doing. But if you want your husband and you want this to work, then I would have just handled this in private. And let Star do what she had to do. Let the husband, I believe it's Star's husband who put this out, I think.
Yes.
Because people angry too. So everybody is acting out of anger.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody is acting out of anger. And nobody is really using the logical brain at this time.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and that's what happens when trauma takes place. It's our emotional brain. We don't use our logical brain.
Yeah.
So really, if they had just gone in quiet, taking care of this by themselves, and then leave the other people to air this out, eventually, my late mother used to say, after 7 days, it would die down.
What the Liberian people can say, one thing can make noise.
Right.
But not to add to what Goumah is saying, in addition to people are incentivized to create content on Facebook. There's money being made here.
Yes.
So CC is a self-proclaimed influencer.
Yes.
And a lot of
You
her,
say what self-proclaimed? They almost say she's a celebrity.
okay, but
Self-proclaimed.
yeah, so what part of, we see people like Whitney Houston and Britney Spears, these people been dealing with this stuff for years. When you put yourself out there, even me, somebody came on my page and asked me why I'd be promoting Black women, why I'd be bleaching. I said, but I don't bleach. But however the filter picked up that day or whatever, when you put yourself out there in public domain, you are subject to these kinds of things. And so it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, CeeCee herself is egging this situation on because CeeCee is making money.
Exactly.
CeeCee's, I'm sure, monetized if you look at the number of followers that she has, right? And all of the other influencers that are running her content, they're also making money. So monetization on Facebook, and I monetize on Instagram. They can be sending you notification every day. Don't forget to post. Don't forget to post. Don't forget to post.
Yeah.
So there are multiple things going on here. That the reason why Star said won't be monetized, but Star needs to get her you have to get a certain number of followers in order to get monetized, and so there's so much going on here. But I will say, when it comes to social media, you live by the sword, you die by it. You got to be careful with this thing here. And people forget that real people are on the other side of the screen, And so I will say this though, in regards to Glendy's initial comment, what could we do better? I like to always self-reflect in regards to these things. Look at how this content is affecting you. How is it affecting you? A lot of us have past hurts from relationships where we're cheated on, and we're finding some sort of satisfaction in slamming rich men online, right? There are some people who are understanding of Star because they've encroached on other people's marriages and they were promised certain things. Because who know what rich men told I care, right? They find justification in that. Like a lot of times, just like reality TV, people watch these things because they find validation in their own behavior. They see it on screen, you see it in someone else. And so we have to be very careful. I was reading the comments. There was a lady in the comment section that she married, she went to Liberia, married this man. She prepared to bring her husband here, and then all of a sudden, all this CeeCee team come online. You tell her Mahana beating? She done beat killing CeeCee. Yeah, and the thing about it is, I'm looking at this thing in real time, like, wow, we really project our stuff on other people, right? So yes, it's all fun and games. CeeCee them made themselves entertainment, right? They made themselves entertainment. But I would say, from a personal perspective, look at how you're responding to this situation and see if you can uncover some discomforts that you have and things that you might need to work on as you go through it, right?
Well, can I say something? And maybe I need an actual psychologist for this one. But you make don't laugh, Delarue. That's seriously, man. You made a valid point. I have been cheated on. I mean, that it's an experience that I don't think anyone would say they haven't ever experienced. And I know the hurt that's involved in it. And I've also cheated as well. And I understand all of that. But I'm going to be honest with you. None of what's going on over there remotely affects my life in that way. I don't see it as, maybe I'm just overconfident that ain't my kind of people. That ain't my kind of lifestyle. If something happens in my house, I ain't doing no live, you know? So I really can't relate, and I'm not inflecting or reflecting anything negative or positive. For me, it's purely entertainment.
And that's okay too. I think for most people, it's entertainment. I'm just asking people to take it on as an exercise, to pay attention to how you're perceiving the situation, because some of us overly identifying with one of these characters one way or the other, right? And if you read the comments, you see, but I want to make something good of it, right? And so the good that I'm trying to make of it is to see how can I become a better person based on what I've digested, because I don't think personally this is probably the best use of my time. And you can see I have a lot of information about it, right?
It's entertaining.
It is entertaining, but I think that I too am overly identifying with CeeCee because I've had similar experiences, right? And they're clearly still renting room. And that's why I'm so invested in CeeCee. I feel really bad for her and things like that. So it's not so much that CeeCee should care that I feel bad. This is work for me. This is my inner work. This is something for me to pay attention to. For those of us who are like slamming CeeCee online, ask yourself, why am I slamming this woman? I don't even know the woman. Why is it so important to me? For those of us who are over-identifying with Star, ask yourself, why do I like Star so much? Or if you're being mean to Star, like these are human beings. Nobody perfect. If you have extreme feelings one way or the other, this is a good way to kind of pay attention to them, is all I'm saying.
And I would add to that, even if you can't identify with either CeeCee or with Star, I said before on this show that every behavior has a story.
Yep.
Right? So if you can't identify with either one, then maybe what you can do is hold less judgment for them by just saying, you know what, I don't know the story. I don't know CeeCee's story. I don't know Star's story. Because we never know what will push a person to behave in the way they behave. And we don't know what we would do if we were in those situations. Right? So the best we can do is to withhold judgment and watch and see what happens. See how it plays out. And however it plays out, we can wish both people well.
But don't forget to like CeeCee and start content now, because how that money gets paid. You gotta like it.
Come on, please, I can ask, you know, we not talk a lot about her yet.
She's not taking no phone calls. She's on that cash app.
DM.
Let me tell you something. I am a total fan of CeeCee. And in fact, I got something to say. A lot of us make on this internet, they're making fun out of that girl's English.
Yes.
I think it's a shame
her English.
For any like grand person to be making fun out of the next person English when we know that our educational system has been subpar for so long. It's not people's fault. Not that people shouldn't learn, but I think we need some empathy. We've been through a lot as a country, and our educational system has not been there for our children. Yup, please don't laugh at people who are trying to express themselves and they're not doing it well. I know historically we do it and we think it's funny, but it gets to me because I know those children, the environment that they went to school in is not what we had, you know? And so we should do better.
I'm guilty of that.
System. Even the young children, like CeeCee is grown, but we have little girls and boys that come on the internet and sharing talking, and people are laughing as opposed to being appalled and putting pressure on the government to do better in the space of education. So we all got little things to do here, but y'all please buy CeeCee cow meat. I'm a fan.
Cow skin.
Oh, cow skin, rather.
Cow skin. Okay, I haven't laughed at CeeCee's English. I probably haven't paid well enough attention to it. I am guilty because the people on Spoon Talk, the Spoon TV, they go evilly. They go evilly in the potato screens. All of that, if you want to be on TV and want to be a self-proclaimed journalist, take a speech class. I'm sorry.
And I think that's the second part of it, right? If you're
I'm not going to cut you a slack.
Public eye,
yes,
you make an effort. Use the same YouTube. They have classes on there, but at the same time, for us who know, I just want to bring it to our awareness that we're not helping the situation, and that if we do want to help, let's give people resources. There's lots of free resources.
You see,
Dean's in Liberia, Mrs. Dean, Mildred Dean does a lot of literacy education and classes. Reach out to Mrs. Dean. She's on Facebook as well, and see how we can help to support the things that she's doing, because she belongs to the World Literacy Federation and stuff. Let's help. Let's not just laugh. Let's help too.
You see, okay, I'm glad you said that, because I offer Stanton, I offer to pay for a speech coach for Stanton years ago, and they thought I was just, but I was serious. But anyway, he got me go to jail now, so it's not necessary.
So this is it's we've been here almost 2 hours. I cannot do this for the life of me. We had a good time. Good show, great show. We learned a lot. We want to appreciate our guests today. This is actually history. We've been here for almost 2 hours. The first show that we've been here for almost 2 hours, the conversation, and we've been able to keep our audience entertained and learning and commenting back. It's been a very interactive time. We will remember this time. We want to thank thank Delarue and of course Goumah. We hope that coming together today will branch out into something,
Mhm.
because I think the two of you working together would be great for Liberia.
Mhm.
And also, if you're out there and you need help, like I need help, reach out to, if you need Goumah's contact or you need Delarue's contact, just reach out to us. They're also on Facebook. Delarue, you easily get her on Instagram, but Goumah, she'll respond to you on Facebook. But you can just reach out to Agatha and myself. This is what we love. This is what we were made to do. This is
Yeah.
what this show is here for. This is why
Yes.
GBC is here, so that we can be able to reach out and talk to people. We touch a lot of things today. We talk about marriage, we talk about divorce, we talk about relationship, we talk about finding whoever you're gonna find. We talk we talk about then we went into the CC maintain story and hoping that they can be able to find some form of closure or
Yeah.
privacy. They can take it off Facebook, and when that reaches back home, they can talk about it. Hopefully, God will be there to help them
God there.
fix that other relationship. Before we leave on, we want to see if
Oh,
Goumah has any closing comments on Delarue. Yes,
I got Goumah laughing. I won't say nothing. My all my comments for later.
I love you, Agatha.
I love you too,
it's a
Mama.
mess. It's a mess. Goumah,
Yeah.
any closing comments?
I think, to close, I love this quote, and it's from Louis Hay. And he says, I don't fix my problem,
Yes.
I fix my thinking,
Yes.
and my
Mm,
problems fix themselves.
Yeah.
okay.
Right? So I think for us as a people, my people, I love my people. I love my culture so much. And I think for us as Liberians, that mindset shift is so critical for us at this moment.
Absolutely.
With all that's happening around us, all that's happening in the country, all that we have to do, we need to change the way we think, because that's going to help us to not only heal as a people, but to heal even as a nation.
Right.
So that's my closing statement for us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Delarue?
All right, so I'm going to follow Goumah's example, and I have a short quote by Robert Schuller. It says, "Turn your scars into stars."
Okay.
And I want to just share with any and everybody out there, no matter what life has thrown at you, you can overcome the difficulties. I always remind my Liberian clients, if you survived the war, whether you were here as a refugee or you were in Liberia, that in and of itself equipped you with resiliency skills that most people would never even be able to touch. You can overcome many things, but again, you do have to, like what I'm saying, you have to change your thinking and recognize that our parents, our people did the best they could with what they had. But in this new space, in this new world where we are multicultural and we've been presented with new opportunities and options, you will need new skills. Do not be afraid to pay for education. You don't have to go to school, but you do have to go to therapy. Okay. It will improve your life. Okay. All right, I love you guys. Thank you so much for having me. I always have a great time when I come on here. And
Thank you.
one last thing, if you want to find me on Instagram or Facebook, just go at Coach Delarue and you will find me. Send me a message. I do sessions on a limited basis, like one-on-one sessions with Liberian people, because you let it go and spin your business and say that I didn't want to talk it. Number two, I'm getting ready to do group sessions. So the group sessions will be good. It'll be similar, like a similar format to this, where but you'll be able to interact with me. And I would love to invite Goumah on, just so that maybe we can get something going, a safe space where you guys can talk and ask questions. I think it would be great.
Absolutely.
Please make sure when you plan that, include us, so that maybe we can help broadcast it. We can do that, and then it can be Zoom where you invite other people. I think this was really, really good. Want to thank the two of you, Agatha.
This was a great show. It's always an absolute pleasure to be in the presence of the two of you. Beautiful, articulate, intelligent, and I always get a piece of nugget that I'm gonna take with me.
That's awesome.
And I appreciate that. We not only did we talk about relationship and all of that, but we talk about something important that I don't think we need to highlight a little bit more. We talked about menopause. And let's continue to have those uncomfortable conversations with us women and maybe our girls too. Because I remember growing up, my conversation about menstruation and what that meant was, you a woman now, don't let a boy touch you. That was it. So we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I truly appreciate you too for being here and giving us this wealth of knowledge. And and all joke aside, I know y'all see God there, but I started, but I enjoyed the entertainment that all of those folks provided us. I wish them all well, but for me, it's not of malice. I'm not being malicious. I'm just enjoying the entertainment. So don't take everything I say, to heart. Y'all don't come for me, but I jump from a wrist on
Let me do a PSA for Liberian women. If you are Liberian, you're single. We have between 300,000 and 500,000 Liberian people in America. If you're looking for men, please look here first.
And then they won't have something to hold.
You see, Delarue won't start a whole.
They need something to hold their bar, mama.
I just want to throw something out there. I mean, I think sometimes would overcomplicate things.
Yeah.
You want to be here plenty, that's what I'm saying.
But you will not be able to hold it if you don't get in the paper now, man.
If you want to do that, you need to seek therapy. There's something very not right where you wanting to hold something like that over somebody's head as a start of the marriage check. But whether you going with it,
yes. Anyway,
right,
that's a whole different show.
Yes.
That's a whole different show because plenty people that not bring people here. And almost all of them now together again.
Hello, why are not starting with me again?
But I'm correct.
Sorry.
Go to therapy,
folks, we're gonna
buy life insurance, and don't start go for me when somebody die.
Oh Lord, that's a
My
favorite
PSA.
place.
Somebody on Facebook said we will continue the show for 1 more hour.
What is the one talking about? I gotta go celebrate until tomorrow. I beg you.
All right, folks, thank you for watching. And
It's all right. It's all right.
Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. We need to plan something where we can have an audience and we can have people. We can also
love that.
add some poetry in the midst of counseling. Something nice.
Maybe it's time for you to take the show to the road, Glendy.
Yes,
Maybe we should look into a Thanksgiving show.
Yes, we should. We should do that. We should that. But thank you.
I'll get right on that.
The two of them, they're actually but the two of them in Atlanta, right?
Well, are you here?
Yes. In Atlanta.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God, Atlanta.
I'm in Atlanta. Yeah. I used to be in
Miami.
Miami.
Use the village.
Very good.
Perfect.
Yeah,
okay,
we'll plan it and then we'll come there. That would be nice.
But we're not just be like we gotta do small work there. Small stuff. Okay, cool.
What do a whole workshop? Don't ain't you said that man I call you for dry rice and fried fish? All your era.
You can feed me. I will do the clinical work with you, but feed me.
That's why I said leave that one man. That my era.
Okay, cool.
The one we're talking about. That my era. Let me deal with
it. That would be really nice, though. That would be really nice.
I will.
Yes, and please make sure you add some poetry in the midst of it. I went to
we'll do a little entertainment. We'll do some business and get some work done. Mental health work.
Her name is it? Ben Garnett's wife just wrote a book of poetry. She read at the Cottonton reunion. Yeah, it was beautiful. Anyway, folks, good night. We're going to bed. This was a good show. Thank you to all of you. We'll see you.